Hey everyone, welcome back. I want to talk about an important topic today. A mistake that wrecked me the first time I was playing Raid Shadow Legends. That's going to be the skills on your champions and where you apply your very, very, very precious skill books. I'm making this video because books are one of those resources that one wrong move early on and you might be haunted by it for months. Now, I've made some of these mistakes on my first account and I want to share them with you so you don't make them. They make me cringe looking back on it. So let's talk about books. What are they? Why are they so valuable? And the biggest mistake you need to avoid, possibly overall, in Raid Shadow Legends. Now, before I get too far in, let me tell you, you might want the actual best start possible in Raid Shadow Legends. And if you're open to either starting new or you're making a fresh account, use my download link. When I first played Raid Shadow Legends, I didn't have a download link giving me a bunch of free champions. I missed out on a shocking amount of value, okay? I just downloaded it and started playing. But if you use my link, this is a sponsored link in the description and the QR code on screen, you get a free legendary right off rip for downloading. Enter the code I provided below to get another legendary. Wish I had done that on my first account. And also you get 3 epic champions as you level up. And if you do this right now, there is a chase event for Ezio. Log in for 7 days and you get him. So right now you can get 3 legendaries and 3 epic champions right off rip. That's incredible. Best start possible in Raid Shadow Legends. But you're here for this mistake about books, the mistake that I made. So if you're brand new to the game and you're just starting out, and I don't even have my rare champion handy right now, the starter champ that I chose, but you're going to be tempted to work on the skills of your champions, obviously. And I used, not this champion, but some of these champions for a while. Some of them I didn't book up, even though I use them. And the reason is that books are incredibly rare. So books are what you need in the tavern to upgrade skills on your champions. And one of the things that really got me, I mean, this really, really got me, a total blunder, is that you can use more rare books on less rare champions. In other words, if I want to put skills on a champ, let's pick a different one here, one that doesn't actually have skills. All right, let's do, nope, I have skills on this one. Here we go, this one here, Frostbringer. All right, if I want to apply skills onto this one, because she's an epic champ, all my rare skill books, can't use them. But I can use epic skill books. I could use my legendary skill books. I could use my mythic skill books. Now me, being the total noob that I was, I went in and I started applying the more rare skill books because I thought, I don't have any mythic champions. I'll never get a mythic champion. I'm going to use the more rare skill book on this champion. Guys, it was such a mistake. At the time, I didn't even have a legendary champ. So I was tossing my legendary skill books and my mythic skill books onto champions. Yeah. Even the rare skill books, okay? You might go in and make the mistake of applying these books left and right. And the less rare skill books are available more often, but the problem is that there's gonna be a bunch of rares that you end up wanting to use, booking up and having around. You can see I've got Diabolist booked up. You can see I've got Bellower booked up. If I go into my vault, I got Kale booked up. I've got a bunch of these blue champs booked. And so I'm telling you this because you're going to get an overwhelming number of blue champions you are going to want to focus. All right, so we've covered a couple of the biggest mistakes here. One is using a higher tier book on a lower tier champion. The other is just booking whatever comes your way, especially a bunch of blues, okay, and spreading your books around. That's another mistake, okay? I think it's not a great idea to be spreading your books among a bunch of champions. I'd rather have fewer really strong champs. But another thing that people often do is they'll book up something like an epic only to replace it shortly after they've done it, right? So if you think you might replace something sometime soon, how can you save books? Well, book up the right stuff. What's the wrong thing to do? And a epic or rare that's super replaceable. So how are you going to know if something is super replaceable? You can ask around. You can join my Discord server, link down below. People will happily tell you. A quick Google search and you'll get your answer for is this champion worth booking or not? On the topic of whether or not a champion is worth booking, you might be inclined to book like whatever legendaries come your way. I don't think that's a good plan. Like, you've got to research them. I do think it's a good idea to consider booking up the first legendaries you get as a part of the codes I've shared with you, because those legendaries are really, really, really good for pushing your account progression. They're honestly, like, I really feel like the devs probably give them to you because they want you to progress and because progressing through content feels good, right? So like for me, it was stolen. I booked him. Totally worth it. I used code Desert Queen to get to Huna Rock. I talked about that in a recent video. I booked her up. For me, totally worth it. But if we look around at others that I've gotten, Xenomorph, I got for free. I got him for free, okay? I didn't book him. Predator, I did book. Got that one for free. Ezio, I did book. Got that one for free. Newt, one of the best in the game. Okay, booked the heck out of that. Slam dunk book. Arbiter's amazing. I've booked Death Knight, but I've also spent a bunch of money on this account. And then if we go to the vault, right? Like, look, there are champs just sitting around that aren't booked. All right. I don't actually book everything that comes my way. So the other thing I'll say to save books is that not every skill on every champion actually necessarily needs to get booked. Some skills you really care about, other skills, maybe you don't. Okay. So like I've got Cassandra here. What's a better example? What's a really good example here? If I look through my kit, I mean, I don't know. Newt is maybe not the best example here because he's so god dang good. But some champions have just like one skill that you absolutely must have. Maybe Haikatun is the one here to talk about. So attacks all enemies, has a chance of decreasing their turn meter. That is huge. This one is major though. Fills the turn meter of all allies and places a speed buff on all allies for 2 turns, and I can reduce the cooldown. Like, yeah, the first skill is nice. Attacks an enemy, 25% chance of placing a decreased speed buff. That's nice, okay? Decreased speed debuff. But like, I'm really here to boost my own turn meter as much as I can. And honestly, attacking all enemies and decreasing their turn meter might even be the skill to do. I'm a bit of a noob. Like, I don't know what to do for every champion, which is why I'll go chat in Discord or I'll go look it up, right? So the long story short here about books is that you can spend them in a second and regret that choice for a lifetime. Especially if you did the mistake I did, which was the higher tier books on lower tier champs, Rip Bozo. So my guidance to you, again, is as follows. Before you book a champ, look them up. Look them up before you book them up. Man, this is how you know I got dad jokes. And the other thing I'll recommend is that you make sure you know which skills need booking. Not all of them necessarily do. And make sure that you understand whether or not a champion is filling a role that you're shortly going to replace anyways. All right. You enjoyed the vid? Throw a like on here. Consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you again to the makers of Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's video. Using my sponsored link down below or the QR code on screen is going to give you the actual best start possible in Raid Shadow Legends. My account's been an absolute banger, and you can consider subscribing if you want to see the entirety of this journey because I've shared all of it, and I've gotten some really lucky pulls, but also I feel like I've executed pretty cleanly. All right, until next time, you have fun, smash your enemies, and check the cards in the end screen for other big mistakes you really want to avoid in Raid Shadow Legends.